He's absolutely on fire.
He is.
If I put him on my Alsatian at home, I'd say he's going to race.
Just make sure she gets declared before you back her. Though, so.
Yes, I was going to say, Ross has got her anti-post. So, But yeah,
Ashton, we've got a great ride for you at Goodwood. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, we'll let you know the details later down the line. But yeah, don't question it. Hello and welcome to this very special episode of Inside Track, brought to you by Wiliam Hill. This is our Goodwood Festival preview, of course, otherwise known as Glorious Goodwood. My name is Kate Tracey, and joining me are Louis Steward, Wiliam Hill Island Ambassador Jane Mangan, and making his Inside Track debut, Ross Brierley. Great to have you here.
Lovely to be here. Thanks ever so much for having me in. Again, just a quick call up that it did say casual dress on the call sheet, and I am apparently with the 3 best dressed people in racing, so I appreciate being stitched up like that, but no, lovely to be here.
Great to have you here. At least, like I said, I've gone with the jeans angle, so I'm trying to sort of differentiate it that little bit. Right, there's loads to discuss, so we're going to get straight into it, but before we do, Wiliam Hill have an offer for you because they are offering a top price guarantee on the first race of every day of Glorious Goodwood, so make sure to utilise that. And it's also worth mentioning that in the month of June, Wiliam Hill offered more top prices on horse racing than any other major bookmaker, as verified by Odds Checker. Right, guys, straight into the action then. Straight on to day 1, of course, for Tuesday, the 3 o'clock Group 2 Lennox Stakes, 3-year-olds and over 7 furlongs. Ross, you are the debutant, so it only feels right you should take us away.
Sure, yeah. I mean, it's head versus heart a little bit, but Goodwood, but very rarely does it actually combine and head and heart agree. And I think Kinross has got to be the horse I think most people will be cheering for from a financial perspective, but also a historical perspective. He quite clearly should be unbeaten in this race. He absolutely loves 7 furlongs, full stop, but 7 furlongs around Goodwood really plays to his strengths. He used to be down as a bit of a soft ground, a proper mudlark, but I think he's proven that wrong over the past couple of seasons. He's just a really classy horse. 6-7 a mile pretty much comes alike to him, but he is at his very best over this trip. And again, the flat racing programme does kind of scupper him in that regard. He should be a 10-time Group 1 winner if there were those races in the programme, but there aren't. But he was beaten by Sandrine in this, of course. The one time he did get beaten, where he had, I was going to say a nightmare, but it's Glorious Goodwood, so it was a Goodwood race. He just didn't get the split. Sandrine was in the perfect position throughout that race, and everything went to plan. He's just very, very good. Obviously, he's got English Oak to beat, who looked phenomenal at Ascot, but different type of track, going right-handed. Thirsk, Ascot, Haydock. It's going to be a different test, I think, for English Oak. Should, in theory, be a good pace up front as well if Audience runs, and maybe Poet Master, although we only saw him a couple of weeks ago. But apart from the sprints at Goodwood, I don't particularly like pace horses. I think those strong travelling, switched-off horses like Kinross are absolutely ideal for this. So assuming he doesn't get that one box and get stuck on the rail again, yeah, I mean, I'm just hoping he comes whizzing down the centre of the track and wins again. Yeah,
as the 7 furlong specialist, like proven time and time again, like say, if we only had those Group 1s for the 7 furlong horses, we're still working on it for York's contest, of course, aren't we, to try and make that into a Group 1 then in itself. But Jane, Kinross, he has become the 7 furlong specialist to beat. And again, he's found himself pretty prominent in the market, but he's got a few young challengers to boot.
He does. Look, there's 2 questions there. We'll get to Kinross in a minute. You don't make make races for horses. Great horses, Group 1 horses, they can adapt. When he dropped back to the July Cup over 6, he was exposed. When he goes up to the mile, he doesn't stay. He's fantastic at this trip. We know that. He's also my selection. This is the beginning of our relationship, but we're actually very much agreeing.
Honeymoon period for agreement is what it mainly is. Probably.
It's downhill from here.
Yeah, just wait till we get to Saturday.
And you talk about pace, with Goodwood, and Louis can tell us this. You go down to the start downhill, and that won't suit an audience, because not only is he a pace horse, he's a real on the bridle aggressive type horse. So I would say a seasoned campaigner like Kinross is the one for me. Notable mention for Noble Dynasty and Tiber Flow, who probably also go there. I would take on English Oak. I think optimum conditions, doesn't need soft ground. I think he's the one to beat.
Yeah, so Kinross then, a bit of agreement, and also agreement in the fact that he's more ground versatile than we perhaps gave him credit for at the start of his career. But on to Goodwood though, Louis, because Goodwood as a whole, the guys had just touched upon it there and how tricky a track it can be. Of course, you have great success there. Yeah. So just talk us through the idiosyncrasies of it.
Well, Goodwood's a very tricky track. Jockeys play a big part in it, so do horses. I think the temperament of a horse definitely is suited by the track. You need a jockey with a lot of patience, hence why we see Richard Hughes do so well over the years. It's kind of one of them tracks where you wait and you wait again and time your run to perfection. Very difficult to ride. You can get stuck on the fence at any time. So the jockeys normally look to peel off, and it's just about adapting to the way the track is run. They normally go quite hard up to the first bend, and then because it's so steep, coming round there and then back down, you get a run early, so horses can go too soon from the front. That's why I think audience in this race is probably going to get swallowed up. Tactics will probably be the same as what he done in the Lockinge, but I'm going to go against you two in your honeymoon period and say that English Oak will take the victory of the Lennox.
Oh, okay.
I just think he's going to be a horse that's suited to this track. Very strong traveller, has a good turn of foot. Jane's looking at me quite funny.
No, I enjoy this because I said this to you. It's kind of an us versus them. So I wonder does Kate agree with you?
Well, I'm hoping
with them. Is all I'm saying. Sorry,
Louis.
People,
move the chair around. Leave Louis on his own.
Just have a lineup of the three of us there. Louis on his Todd, but continue to make your case. So
I'm going to say Kinross is going to be suited definitely by a little bit more cut in the ground. I know he doesn't definitely need it, but he will be suited by it. English Oak is probably the most unexposed horse in this race, only 4. I think the penny's dropping a bit later for him in his career, and his run at Ascot was exceptional. I like his turn of foot. He'll get a good pace with audience making the run in, hopefully, and I think James is going to utilise that turn of foot inside the final furlong.
Okay, and what's James told you about English Oak?
James has said...
I was going to ask you, if you know.
James really likes him. He said he's full of speed, so does need a pace to run at. He could come back to 6, and at the same time 7 is perfect. So it is one of these trips where, like we say, there's probably not enough good races over 7 furlongs, but I think this is the best race you're going to get over a trip like this.
I feel like almost if English Oak could, if he'd started this improvement a little bit earlier, the race at Tiber Flow won, for example, at Haydock was absolutely perfect for him. I mean, there are a lot of your Group 2s, your Group 3s for 7 furlong horses, but English Oak does stay a mile pretty comfortably.
Yeah.
And like you said, he does have that cruising speed. I think he's a fascinating horse. I mean, he is improving at a rate of knots, and I don't think in particular grades, I don't think it's that much to go peak handicap to
that much of a jump,
level.
Up until the Group 2, say, especially then for these sorts of specialists.
There you go. See, now I'm going to put him around this.
Move the chairs back around again. Yeah, if only these mics weren't in the way, you could be moving all your chairs around. But I'm going to, hopefully you're going to stick with Kinross, because I'm with Kinross as well here. The 7 furlong specialist, 2 the 4. Hopefully ground won't inconvenience him by any means in this. And it is just going to be the acid test for English Oak. If he passes it, he passes it. But I want to see him prove that first. So 3 of us then in agreement with Kinross. Louis, honest Todd there with English Oak at this stage. But again, do let us know who you fancy for the Lennox. Right, we move on to the 3:35 again on day 1 on the Tuesday. This is the Group 1 Goodwood Cup Stakes, 3-year-olds and over 2 miles. Now, hopefully, Kyprios is going to go in this one, Jane. And if he does, is it a bit of a penalty kick for him?
Yes. No, he's becoming he's becoming more of a difficult ride because he's getting clever, and everybody was saying how good Ryan was at Ascot, but I'd say Ryan was kind of settling a score with Trawlerman, having got collared by him in October on Champions Day, and on quicker ground things will happen faster, and nothing happens fast with Kyprios. Ew. I know Aidan is saying over 1.25 miles, 1.5 miles he has the class. I find it hard to believe it, if I'm honest, and I'd love to see a pair or something on him in the future, and I'd say that will happen, but not against Coltrane, not against Sweet William or Gregory. I feel like if he was in against a real on prime Trushan, they might be tempted to go for a little bit of headgear to help the jockey, but he's by far and away a class apart. If he doesn't go there, then it's wide open.
Then it is wide open away from him. But it is interesting, though, Louis, on that point about Kyprios that Jane was saying there, because we know he's not the most straightforward. He's not the easiest conveyance by any means. But then you try and take him on potentially, but you just know he's a class above these rivals. For all that, we've got likeable types in there, but he's very difficult to see past regardless.
I think if he runs, he can kind of win at cruising speed. Like Jane mentioned, he is by far the best horse in this race. It's funny because I actually trust him more now than I ever did. I think a track like Goodwood, although it's so tricky, I would kind of look at it more like a Brighton or somewhere like that, where it can make quirky horses actually kind of run a bit straighter. I know he has his quirks and has done in the past, but for me, you can't look by him, can you? I mean, whatever pace they go is fine. The stronger pace, probably the better. Jane, would that be right? I think
I'd say he couldn't make the running. I was in the paddock for pre-Ascot Gold Cup this year, and the horses were leaving the parade ring, and Willie Mullins had just legged up Colin Keane to go out on Vauban, and he came over and he said, "So who's going to make the running here?" And I was like, well, not you and not Kyprios, because they were the two horses and in the Gold Cup, and Kyprios will just back off in front. So I'm kind of surprised that Ballydoyle haven't just left one in.
Yeah.
But maybe they don't feel there is a need.
No,
Who are we to question them?
Yeah, it's very, very much so. Yeah, I've learned that the hard way. And they have become more like that, haven't they, Ballydoyle? We've seen that this season where, Ross, they can just be reliant on that one horse and they don't need any other darts to throw at it when they really are convinced.
Well, I think, and it probably was a few years ago as well. There were more genuine challenges against their class horses in those races. I think, especially other Irish trainers this year. Irish flat trainers having a bit of a nightmare. Every really good horse is Ballydoyle this year. So and they've come over and plundered plenty of races over here. But nobody, your Lions, your Harringtons of this world.
Porta Fortuna.
Apart from, it's still an O'Brien.
I know. That's the major issue. Yeah.
It's like that's the thing. If you it's either your dad or the kids, everyone else. It's a family affair pretty much this year, I think, with the Irish group flat horses. Yeah, I mean, Kyprios, he was a few sandwiches. I mean, he is a few sandwiches short of a picnic, to be kind. But you're right. When he was 2-3, there was races where, even the ones he won, you thought, this horse has got no chance. And he won it. Was it Galway? I think he won at Galway, didn't he, early on in his career? And he came rattling around in terrible ground to win in impressive fashion. But yeah, Goodwood makes quirky horses out of everyone, I think. So I actually think it does suit Kyprios. He's like, right, this is none of this is straightforward.
Yeah, the only thing I'd say about the Ascot race was he had something to aim at. Yeah. And I think that would have helped him kind of run straight to the line. Yeah. Trawlerman kicked off the bend and there was a good few lengths for him to make up. And I just think sometimes when you've got a target like that, it can make the horse run straighter and truer. Obviously, Goodwood is yet to be unknown, but I think it's a track where they're not going to get away from. I mean, Quickthorn done it a few years ago, but there's not a horse in there to do this kind of tactics. I think if he does it, it's going to have to be on raw ability. Yeah,
and again, we might get a small fiddly field. We might get horses skip this race and wait for York and whatever. So there's different. I don't know about you, but I watched Trushan at Sandown last time out. And after about 3 or 4 furlongs, thought, he's not really settling. He's probably not enjoying himself as much these days. And then they turned into the home straight, and he made me look a fool. He absolutely dotted up, didn't settle at all from start to finish. I know it was a big drop in class, but again, heart is saying, I'd love to see Trushan bounce back. And Alan King's horses have really clicked into gear again the past couple of weeks. It is almost perfect timing, I think, for Trushan to run a big race. Again, I don't know if it's an absolute. It's like, oh yeah, come and do the Wiliam Hill preview. Oh yeah, this each-way thievery and an odds-on shot is a great angle. But
if there was one,
if
there was
no pace in the race, like absolutely zero, could Holly just go pull a rabbit out of the hat? At that stage of his life, they've nothing to lose. Don't think he's at his best, but it might spark a fire in him. And I don't think fighting him off a really slow pace is going to achieve anything.
Well, you remember at Doncaster when she couldn't hold him and she had to let him go.
She's done it before, hasn't she? Yeah, with him.
Goodwood, I would say, is a track where horses can prick their ears out in front. They're changing legs constantly, the uphills, the downhills, and it does actually get them to breathe and relax. So I think, Jane, you're right. If Trushan does run, he could definitely make the run-in.
Yeah, because like I say, well, we've seen it with Quickthorn, Sumo Sam last year as well. Then, so we, I mean, in testing conditions,
you only have the element of surprise once, and you may as well do it in a Group 1, and it's not a strong one.
No, and you're not exactly going to be working on reining him back then for next time out. He's 8 years old now, so you're not.
Well, I don't think he
start schooling him over hurdles now.
That's exactly the key. Another
it's definitely been done, hasn't it? Definitely been done.
100%.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, if he,
For the each-way alternative, then, I guess we're all in some sort of agreement that if Trushan does get to run in the race, then he might just be the option away from Kyprios.
Or Sweet William.
Sweet William.
I think, I know he's, again, another quirky horse, but I'm just kind of going off the track might suit these quirky horses. I mean...
Well, it has done, hasn't it?
It has done in the past, yeah. I'm talking if Kyprios doesn't run, by the way, because I think it's a one-horse race.
Yeah, very much so. If he does,
he'd probably be the last horse off the bridle. He'll get your heart pumping. Rab will have to. You said, Goodwood suits delay.
Yeah,
that's how he needs to be ridden.
He needs to be ridden.
But isn't partly that because you go, right, let's go through the gears, and he goes, I haven't got any more.
No, this is my limit. Yeah, this is all I've got.
I think he's kind of like, I'll do what I want to do.
Yeah.
You can ask, but I will do what I want to do.
You can ask, but Rab, he knows him better than anyone. So a bunch of characters that we have to go at, I think it's fair to say, in the Goodwood Cup this year, but really looking forward to that 2-mile Group 1 contest. Right, we move on to the Wednesday, and a reminder of Wiliam Hill's top price guarantee on the first day of every day of Glorious Goodwood as well. But we're going to kickstart our preview with the 3:35. This is, of course, a Group 1 Sussex Stakes, 3-year-olds and over 1 mile. What a race we have in prospect here. Louis, do you want first stab at it? Because it's,
I don't know,
it's a corker. Please, feel free.
No, it is a corker, but the last time we done this podcast, I hyped up Notable Speech massively for the St James's Palace.
It was too bad to be true,
It was too bad to be true, and I'm going to stick with that. I can't write him off yet. I'm trying to think why it happened, and my conclusion is, not saying anything about the way Charlie Appleby trains, because he's an absolute master, but I think he had 3 quick runs, was prepped perfectly for the Guineas, and then maybe took his foot off the gas before the St James's Palace just to kind of freshen him up. But I think in hindsight, probably made him run flat. I heard through the grapevine he'd done a racecourse gallop last week, and it went very well. So I'd say Charlie Appleby is throwing everything at this to have Notable Speech back in top form. And I'm going to stick with my guns.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is it fair to say that all of the Appleby horses underperformed at Ascot?
Yeah, exactly. That's another point proven. So
but he's also not he's a Newmarket trainer, and he's a Goodwood trainer as well. I think, obviously everyone wants Royal Ascot winners, but his record at the Guineas meeting and the Glorious Goodwood would always be better than Royal Ascot. So is there a potential that he's like, well, you can have that one. We'll be back for Goodwood.
I don't think any trainer says you can have anything.
yeah, fair enough. But in the back of his mind, he was probably like, we'll be back for Glorious Goodwood.
And then you're getting the compensation in the price as punters as well, probably then for that angle, like you say, because the last 2 Royal Ascots, Charlie Appleby has been so quiet within those. And then, like I say, he's come back to roaring success when we look ahead to Goodwood then. So with that extra compensation potentially in the prices that we're going to get with him, you are going to stick with him. And I love that fact that this is called Inside Track. You are literally giving us the inside track.
I've given you some inside track information.
He's the only one doing his job.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
I try ringing people, but they just don't answer.
They just don't answer. Who have you tried to ring ahead of the Sussex Stakes?
Oh yeah, I was ringing Rosalian actually, but
himself, the horse himself.
Yeah, but he just couldn't pick up the
figure
phone.
It out.
He just couldn't answer it. So this is the thing. Everyone around me has, this is how you ride Goodwood, and I've been speaking to so and so. I'm like, I've speed figures and I've watched 5,000 replays. So it's a different approach. And like I said, no one answers the phone when I ring.
The track should suit both horses based on their running style. They can both travel at a high cruising speed. You could drop them both back in trip and they'd still travel the same. The only problem is going to be maybe draw and how the race is run. If one gets boxed in or whatnot, which I'm sure 2 experienced jockeys are not going to do so on them 2 horses. But I think it's going to be a very open contest now. You're going to see the best of these 2 horses albeit they get smooth passages through.
And Henry Longfellow in there as well, then, of course, with the other talent, the other one who will be prominent in the market then here. But, Ross, in terms of the speed figures and the 5,000 replays that you've watched, what did that land you on?
I mean, the thing is, Rosalian is almost the most sort of Sussex Stakes winner I've seen in the field. I mean, in terms of the way he wins his races, if he is, as you said, not boxing on the rail, if he is on the heels of the leaders with a furlong, 2 furlongs to go, he's just going to fire down the middle of that track in incredible fashion. And, you know, we've seen it time and time again in this race. I can almost envision the commentator's voice raising as it says, you know, and look at Rosalie, and he's going to be on the steel until he unleashes that turn of foot and that change of pace, which is, you know, that's a real sign of a top class horse, that where you just go from bang to bang and he's gone. And that's what he did at the Curragh. That's what he won him that race. And the fact that he can also do that in an Ascot as well. Yeah, I'm really excited about seeing him at Goodwood. I mean, like you said, notable speech. I do think Charlie Appleby, you know, I think was it 2 seasons ago where, you know, Buick was riding 3 or 4 winners a day at Glorious Goodwood. And Buick's a fantastic Goodwood jockey as well, in terms of, like you said, that patience, that not panicking. He's not overly aggressive. He has a plan. He sticks to it. He knows what's going to happen. Henry Longfellow is the fly in the ointment slightly, because I don't think, you know, it was a nightmare run on debut. He probably was sort of still getting to peak at Ascot and taken a bit by surprise by Rosalian's fitness and turn of foot. I think Connections will be a bit savvier this time out. I hope all 3 of them turn up. That's the main thing, because you don't need a big field for a top class Group 1. You just need, we've got 3 genuine Group 1 horses reopposing. I think it'll be big, but I do think you spend a lot of time thinking, if it unfolds like this will turn the form around. He'll turn the form around. He'll turn the form around. Winning horses win races, and I think Rosalian's turn of foot is the real, you know, the real deal. So I'm hoping for another big performance.
Yeah, because that's the thing, isn't it? Especially when we're talking about Goodwood and we say, well, just if this happens, then more savvy tactics this way to try and inconvenience said horse. But then good horses do just win. And I know, of course, Rosalian was beaten by notable speech in the 2000 Guineas at Newmarket. But at the same time, 2 wins subsequently, Jane, surely prove at this stage he is very much the one who should be able to win despite any slight adversity.
Yeah, look, I'm going to put it in a very simplistic fashion. Who's the best horse? Who's the horse that has put in the best performance this season? I would argue it's still the 2000 Guineas at Newmarket. There was brilliance in it. He didn't run it too, though, so we're not that familiar with him. Yeah. We don't have the inside track from Godolphin and Newmarket. And I would say I saw him at Ascot and I thought, in the ring, you won't win.
Why was that?
He looked like he had a good break.
Yeah. Again, I'm going to use that.
Hang on a minute. I just said that some trainers you can have Ascot. And
I'm not. I hadn't seen him at the Guineas, so I can't say that I can compare to anything, because we haven't seen him. I hadn't seen him before that. But he looked very strong. Rosalian has been awesome, but it's almost in the way he's been ridden. The Irish Guineas, if he got beaten, everybody would have went for Sean Levy's jugular. Before that, you know, I think Sean rides him with great confidence, and he probably doesn't have to complicate it as much as he has been doing, because the horse is probably learning on the job. He was going to be keen at the Curragh if he didn't drop him in like he did, and hopefully he'd benefit from that so that he can be ridden a little bit closer in what will probably be a smaller field. And I think it's really good that we're talking about three 3-year-olds. We're talking about the classic generation in Rosalian, the Guineas winner, and Henry Longfellow, who, disregard France, I thought was going to spring a massive surprise at Ascot until maybe the 200-yard mark. Have to mention Factor Cheval, have to mention Maljoum, even though I think that ship has probably sailed. Notable Speech has put in the best performance so far, but I value reliability. And Rosalian, the way Richard Hannon's talking about him in terms of Camford Cliffs and comparisons to possibly being the best they've ever had, you can't ignore that.
No. Quotes like that, like you say, they are beyond standout. And Richard Hannon, we know that he has a very honest approach to the media as well, which we're very grateful for. But for him to come out saying such a thing about a horse like Rosalian, you do, like you say, you have to take notable note.
Like if Rosalian settles in third and doesn't have to make up ground, surely a huge benefit for him compared to his previous Group 1 wins.
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it, with him, is that you've just said it yourself, that Sean Levy, he basically has said himself that when he actually gets a decent flow of a race to aim at, how good is he going to be, because he's been winning despite complications.
But if he's been winning despite complications, and also but kind of cosily as well. I mean,
the part he's complicated though.
I mean, again, I didn't see him in the paddock, but it was my impression was Rosalian, the way he travelled and the way Notable Speech went past him, my immediate thought was it was just fitness. It was just race readiness.
Yeah.
I mean, Notable Speech obviously, was clearly
He was busy
fit.
early this season.
Yeah, he was. That was his peak on that day, and I felt like Rosallion. There was also a potential a bit where was there, at the furlong pole, do you think, well, we've won this, and then Notable Speech came past him potentially? I don't know, but yeah,
the pace of that race was just so frenetic then.
Well, it's obviously just a really good renewal as well.
Yeah.
I mean, Malzoom's the one that does hurt because he is. I still think.
Still thinking that's St James's Palace.
I know everyone's
years
still
ago.
thinking about it. Everyone's talking back to it, but are people
Still
starting
hurts.
to let
It
it
still
go?
hurts.
Have you let it go yet, though?
No, I
He
never
hasn't
will.
replicated that performance.
No.
That's the
I'm
thing.
letting it go.
Yeah, that's what I've
I just
jumped
feel
off.
sorry. I want to go to the horse and go. It could have been you, mate.
It could have been you if you weren't trapped on that inside rail with no run whatsoever. But he hasn't delivered on it.
No, he has. He's like one of those footballers who you go. You'll 18, 19 hits the headlines, and then something goes awry, and the career just never gets there. But he'll be there. He'll run a good race. He did run well at Ascot behind Sharon, but younger horses will just.
You would hope so
Obliterated.
anyway. Like saying we've got those three cracking 3-year-olds to go at as well. But I can't wait.
I just have it's weird to have a soft spot for a horse who essentially cost me a lot of money.
yeah. A soft spot for a horse that has massively hurt
On
you.
his leg, you do.
I mean, honestly, I remember looking at the result on the screen and going, "That's wrong. Malzoom's not in the 3." Oh no, he didn't finish it.
I know that's a toxic relationship. I think is what we would quote that as. So
Yeah, it's a very love-hate.
Very toxic relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah, but again, fascinating clash though that we have to go at in the Sussex Stakes. Can't wait for that race. And again, do let us know in the comment section below who you fancy, who's going to prevail in that Group 1 contest. Right, we move on to the Thursday now. And again, as a reminder that Wiliam Hill have a top price guarantee on the first race of every day of Glorious Goodwood. But we're moving on to the 3:35, the Group 1 Nassau Stakes. 3-year-olds and over 10 furlongs for these fillies and mares in this one. So again, fascinating little race that we have to go at here, Ross. I mean, Opera Singer, is she the one to beat at this stage?
I think she'd have to be, in the sense that I feel like, we've been waiting for her to run over this trip. I mean, if you are winning the races she was winning as a juvenile over a mile, and you still haven't stepped up in trip by this point in the season, most horses of this nature probably have taken in those races. But maybe this was the plan all along, that we'll wait for Goodwood and then we'll step up and take in the really good 10 furlong races from the back end of the summer to the autumn. Because, she comes from decent stock, the downs in the family of Anistimon and the Bogberry, who were very good over further. And like I said, it doesn't always work out, but, if you are a Group 1 juvenile over a mile, it's pretty rare you're a miler as a 3-year-old. So again, she's beautifully bred. She's, I wouldn't say been unlucky in her races this year, but she's been unfortunate to run into horses who've been primed and fit and ready and had the race run to suit. And also just in Porta Fortuna, just a brilliant horse, who, I mean, still hasn't finished out of the frame in every single group race she runs in. So I think this will be easier once you start to get, 10 furlong fillies and mares. There's not that many of them. Your milers and your mile and a half. It is one of those kind of specialist trips a little bit. But yeah, I think she is very much the one to beat. I'm kind of excited about a couple of horses taking her on, stepping up in grade a little bit, and it can spring a surprise. Last year, Al Hussein sprang a little bit of a surprise. You also get the years where really good 3-year-olds dominate and win like Nashua did. But yeah, I think she is the one to beat. I will still take her on if she's, a comfortably short favourite, which I think she probably will be. And I'll probably back the horse who gets beat a length and a half behind her. She'll win at 6-5, and I'll go, another year.
Why did I not just play that? Who is the horse that's going to get beaten a length and a half?
Preferably at 20-1 and finish second, and we all go each way.
Yeah, exactly.
days.
Or
Who is that?
Well, it would have been Tiffany, but she's not running. So
So it definitely won't be her.
definitely won't be her. She's got absolutely no chance. I don't know why people have backed her anti-post.
Shrewd.
She'll probably go to York, I would imagine, for the Yorkshire Oaks. But I like that group of horses that's been running at Haydock. That Queen of the Pride form, she's won twice at the track. She beat Tiffany. She beat Lady Boba twice as well. And Lady Boba's in there as well. So 25, 33 to 1 at the moment. Again, if you're getting if you're getting double figure odds, which you probably will do, I think anything over sort of 12, 14s, anything like that is an each way play. Because, yeah, I think the drop back in trip's a little bit interesting. Like I said, Tiffany and Queen of the Pride were really strong at the back end of the races. Lady Boba travelled really well and just got slightly outstayed. So I think that form line's really good. So I'll probably back her each way and see, like you said, Opera Singer quick enough to win.
Yeah, if she goes and wins at that price, then you're happy to let her. But
yeah, but if Lady Boba runs well, then we'll get stuck into the Yorkshire Oaks later on.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Then you say that follow-on form line that we can go to York with then subsequently. But Jane, again, Opera Singer then in here from what we've seen of her this year. I mean, I guess it's how you wear Porta Fortuna, but again, what she's gone on to do subsequently from Ascot, it gives you every reason to have confidence behind Opera Singer. Yeah,
it's strong form. The only thing that's in the back of my head, and you say she comes from strong stock. She's a sister to Brave Anna, Group 1 winning juvenile, did not win a 3. Hitted a Bomb, won a Breeders' Cup juvenile, did not win a 3. 3 and 4pence, won as a juvenile, did not win a 3. Liscana, her mother, precocious, they don't tend to get better. Now, her run at Ascot contradicts what I've just said. She would have been a good winner without Porta Fortuna. But it just is in the back of my mind that she's a bit short. It's a little bit, if she wasn't in Aidan O'Brien's care, would she be as short? I would take her on. Possible Emily Upjohn's going to be supplemented.
I heard that, yeah.
Yeah, and...
On the grapevine.
Oh, you're going inside track, Louis?
Kind of.
Oh, yes.
It's notable, we're recording before the King George, so we don't know how Blue Stocking has ran. But it's very hard to get away from that run. El Malka, I'm not sure about the trip for her. Sparkling Plenty is one I like. Now, Dare to Dream has let the form down of the Diane in the Irish Oaks last week, but she's got a good turn of foot, and I wouldn't discount her. But Emily Upjohn, for me, if she runs, she would be value because people have forgotten her brilliance and think that it's not there anymore. But don't forget, John Gosden tends to train for later in the summer, autumn, and she's a filly. They tend to blossom a little bit later on as well.
Yeah, and Emily Upjohn is sort of, I don't know how to word it, but as much of a mare as a mare could be, really, in terms of her temperament.
Say it in another language.
Yeah, I feel like as a female myself, you may have noticed that I can get away with saying that she is ever so slightly temperamental, and when things are going her way, like say when she comes to the boil, she is one to keep on side then. So if they do supplement her, you're going to have to take it as a vote of confidence. I think I got away with that, Louis. Hopefully so.
I think you did, yeah. We were going to have to pull a plug on that in a second. But Emily Upjohn, for me as well, Jane, I think a good point. At the Curragh last time out, it wasn't Kieran's fault that he got left in front so soon.
I don't think he could have done anything else in that. I know it's divided opinion, this ride, but I don't think he could have done anything else.
And it was just one of them situations where he when the revs are up like that, you just have to go. That there's no other way about it. You can't sit and wait and let...
And he got beat by a stare.
Exactly.
I think Blue Stocking's a mile and a half filly.
I agree. So I think if Emily Upjohn runs, she'll have a great chance at a track like that. Amalka, I thought this would be the right trip for her. I think she outstayed them in the Guineas. The only thing that slightly concerns me is she's quite lapsadaisical off the bridle, and I think Goodwood's a track where if you don't travel, you can get unbalanced. So that would be my only concern about a bit of a bigger price in Amalka.
Yes, that's true actually. I mean, I love her because this is going to be the biggest after timing ever, but at least I have got it on record that she was basically my only big tip then so far this season for the 1,000 guineas. But she handled that track really well. Well enough.
She didn't. One in spite of it.
One in spite actually is probably a way to say it. So
which, considering she beat Porta Fortuna and Ramat Joel, you know, it actually
and winning
is working well.
Despite that though. But then of course to go to Ascot, I know people say, well, she was put in her place then subsequently there.
I don't know about
that far of a way, and also just the pace of the race worked out against her, I feel as well.
I don't know about you, but I watched that race and I thought after about 2 or 3 furlongs, you know, I turned to someone and said, like, I was like, you know, will anyone lay me Porta Fortuna? You know, I want to back, because she was in the perfect position. And you know, in races like that, the first 2 furlongs, you do look at a race and you think, well, I had opinion before the race. It's completely changed, and I thought, well, El Malka's going to really struggle there. But whereas in the Guineas, like you said, they kicked and then they kicked. And then another horse kicked, and then they kicked again, and there was almost 3 pace collapses in that race. So she did really come into her own late on, and I mean she's interesting. She's from another, you know, a 10 furlong family as well. So
I just think over this trip she'll be able to travel without being under the pump too early, and I think that will suit her. like there's no hiding places. Roger said before that she's very lazy at home, and they probably didn't know how good she was until she won the Guineas. Probably carries that. Maybe as the career goes on into her races, we don't know yet. We're going to have to wait and see. But she would be a good each way bet if she handles the track and stays the trip.
I mean, again, it's one of those. If you knew how good she was, you wouldn't go, let's get a Southwell for a novice. You probably won that, and they went, wow.
No, but it makes sense then, like say from her homework, that they should go and do that. But she was so impressive on that day. Hence why I wanted to side with her in the Guineas, because I just thought you don't see that on a horse's debut to dart in, and obviously so unlucky on a reappearance start. Still green though, isn't she? Still learning, but perhaps the step up in trip will suit her as well.
Yeah.
So I'm with her for the each way alternative as well.
Are you tipping it this time? Because we could have all been on a yacht right now if you actually told us about the Guineas.
I did, but on
various.
various.
When you said you had it on record, you didn't.
No, she didn't tell anyone. No, she just said she had it on.
She thought about it.
I do have other jobs, unfortunately. Contrary to popular opinion, I do work for other outlets, but I did say it on those.
But do you not save your best content for the Inside Track?
Always. Well, hopefully so. Anyway, with Malka, then in this one,
we don't want this reputation of you're on three different horses on 3 different shows, and then go
cover all bases. Cover all bases is the key to this game, I think.
And we've gone through the Nassau for probably 10 minutes, and we haven't mentioned Inspiral.
No, go on then.
Yeah.
Go on then. Take away Inspiral.
It would be some kick in the backside if she just decided to turn to form, but it has been dismal.
Yeah.
This
If she
year.
decides.
If she decides, again, we talk
She
about
doesn't normally
Merishness.
blossom until this time of year, I would say.
Yeah.
Half a chance, but I don't trust her.
No, and I just still don't know about her over this trip either. I know that, of course, at Santa Anita, that's for downhill turf at Santa Anita. The first 2 furlongs are downhill there. So
but I do empathise a little bit. I think she possibly, maybe she's a California. When the sun comes out,
She wants Frankie back, doesn't she?
She wants Frankie in the sun.
California.
She's Hollywood,
Who doesn't? Yeah, there you go. Yeah. So, but Inspiral, at least she's got her mention there all the same. But again, we're agreeing in some parts, disagreeing in the main. I'm pleased that I've got some sort of conviction then about El Malka, though, from Louis, at least anyway, in the Nassau. But again, do let us know in the comment section below who you fancy for that Group 1 on Thursday. Right, we switch over to the Friday. And again, you know what I'm going to say. A reminder, as ever, that Wiliam Hill will have a top price guarantee on the first race of every day of Glorious Goodwood. As I say, as we move on to the Friday now with the 3:35, the Group 2 King George Qatar Stakes, 3-year-olds and over 5 furlongs. Jane, speedsters to the 4. So who's the speediest of a speed?
Asfura.
Okay.
I don't really care for sprints. They don't capture the imagination. They're over in a blink of an eye. Big Evs is probably, I suppose, because his connections haven't said he's the greatest thing since sliced pan. He hasn't really garnered this oh my God, he's the most amazing sprinter of all time. But he is actually he's been a fantastic juvenile. His runs this year haven't been his run at Ascot against the older horses was solid. But I just think Asfura, being the Aussie, and their record against us is better than you think. So he's got the Ascot form, and I find it hard to oppose him.
Yeah, and to be fair with Asfura, I think that Connections said that the race that they thought that Asfura would be able to plunder was actually going to be at Goodwood rather than at Ascot as well, with that extra bit of speed. So it feels like Henry Dwyer, he was more convinced that Asfura was going to be winning at Goodwood then. So I guess why go against Connections when they've picked up the biggest sprinting prize so far, Ross?
Well, and again, we keep breeding for speed, but which is light speed, but with an extra R. But we don't breed particularly good sprinters.
I know that's the irony of it, isn't it? Is that what we're focusing on is precocity and speed nowadays. But look how much they've been spread out so far this season. We're not getting up to the levels in terms of the ratings of said sprinters either. So
I mean, or potentially because we breed for speed, they get retired before they actually. Because I do think sprinters get better as they get older.
Yes.
That
They get
raw.
properly tested.
Yeah.
Soundness, genuine. Yeah, you race on to before you'll find out if you're really good.
Yeah, exactly that. And again, Big Evs might be good now, but if he goes for another couple of seasons, then we'll really see him kind of put it all together.
He probably won't.
But he probably won't, yeah. Right. So he'll retire and he'll breed another Big Evs and another Big Evs and another Big Evs, and they'll retire
for a season or two, well. And yeah.
Yeah. Take Asfora out of this and it's fine, isn't it? It's just fine. And because it's that...
Not a Group 1 then, is it?
Well, it's not even a...
It's not a Group 1 anyway, but it's...
But it's never going to be. It's
never not vying for that. Yeah,
no. And because of that, my one... I don't really do anti-post betting on the flat very often, but I have backed Desperate Hero for this, and then Father Nunthorpe as well. He's already shorter than he was, but again, I can't wait for it. The reason I don't back Antipost on the flat a lot of the time is because you back a 50-1 shot, goes off 16s, and still gets beaten by something that was drawn in a better position or whatever. So, but he, I mean, again, handicap to Group Company in sprints in particular is so easy to do. We've seen it time and time again. You know, regional, for example, over the past couple of seasons was a cast off from Richard Farr. He's won a couple of handicaps and he's now was our breast sprinter. Just keep putting R's in things, Lillie.
I love an extra R.
Yeah, I don't know, but never mind, Crate.
This is why you're here.
This is why I'm here.
Yeah, it's bring authentic, original content.
Yeah.
Nobody's ever said that before.
Oh, content, if it's me. Content. Top quality content. Yeah, Desperate Hero. He went to, so again, Jack Shannon this year he's taken over from his dad, and he has been exceptional. You know, Mick was a fantastic trainer, but towards the end, he didn't quite have the stock that he used to have. And Jack has just revitalised that stable, and with nearly every type of horse, from juvenile to stayers. I mean, we're recording this. He won a Racing League race last night with a stayer stepping back to 10 furlongs. He's winning sprints. He's got decent 2-year-olds as well. Desperate Hero went to Hamilton and won a handicap by pretty much half of Scotland. And I think 7 individual horses came out and won either next time or next time out in career best figures as well. I did the speed figure 3 times because I generally thought the spreadsheet was lying to me. And it was just phenomenal. The way this horse sort of, again, was travelling really well, seemed to be going a little bit too quick and then burst clear and was a fraction off the Hamilton course record. He's got Goodwood form. He's versatile on the ground. I thought he was a cracking bet at Sandown, and they went too quick, and he burst clear. And with honest, I was there at Sandown, a furlong pole. I was like, "That's it, he's won." And it was quite a come down in that last half a furlong. But I think he went too quick. But if he does that at
Who
Goodwood,
holds the Hamilton track record?
Ooh,
it is Dapper Man.
Who's Dapper Man?
He is he was trained, a sprinter trained.
Did he win a group race?
No, he was a Class 4 handicapper on very, very fast ground.
Track records do not lie.
Fair enough. I'll take the track record out.
At least you had the answer, though. That was more
I didn't think you would.
You thought you had me.
But I'm glad it wasn't like Batash, because it just goes to show, if you think that's going to beat Asfoora and Big Evs, then
no, I don't. I think it comfortably finished.
You backed it for the Nunthorpe.
Yeah.
Well, then, like, if it's going to win the Nunthorpe, it's going to win the Qatar Stakes.
No, it was 66-1 for the Nunthorpe and 33s for this, and I thought our sprinter's a bang average. Yeah. He will be in the frame, so he'll go off a third of those odds. Will he beat Asfoora? He probably won't. I think he might beat Big Evs. Ooh. He might beat Big Evs. Yeah,
but Asfoora and Big Evs, though, if they're vying for that favouritism, would you come down on the side of one of those or something else?
Jane makes some very good points about Asfoora. I just have a bit of a soft spot for Big Evs. I think you can't really knock him on what he's done. I watched his comeback run at York and thought he's not really grown in height, but maybe looks a bit physically better. His run at Ascot, I would say he got left in the firing line a long way out. It's a very stiff track. 5 furlongs there. Him and Regional were tearing away up the front end, and Asfoora got the perfect run through with something to aim at. I'd say Goodwood rides like a much faster 5 furlongs, which will suit Big Evs. That's how I'd kind of differentiate it between the two.
Yeah, I like Big Evs as well then. And you have to remember on that reappearance start, yes, it would have been straight into the fire as well, going from a 2-year-old into his first start as 3, but giving the £5 away on that occasion also, where I know people were really throwing stones at that form at the time and at the performance, but I thought it was absolutely fine. And last time out, you see that Asfoora and Regional towards the near side, Big Evs then far side, leading overall. Wasn't beaten all that far either. So again, I think massive learning curve for him that would have been. And I'm going to try and stay patriotic again, and hopefully that sprinting prize can stay then with the home contingent. So big Evs for the pair of us two then.
Exactly.
But we had better head to day 5 of Glorious Goodwood, the final day on the Saturday. And a reminder again that Wiliam Hill have a top price guarantee for the first race on every day of Glorious Goodwood. But again, we're starting with the 3 o'clock this time. The Group 2 Lillie Langtry Stakes, 3-year-olds and over a mile 6. Free Wind. Can she go one better than her reappearance start, Louis? Or are you going to take her on?
I would probably take her on.
Okay.
Again, cutting the ground will help. Free Wind. I do like the Qatar horse, Queen of the Pride. I kind of wrote her off in the Haydock race 2 starts ago, and she proved me wrong. She's consistent and improving. I think that's what you kind of need in this race. There's probably a lot of horses in this that look slow. She's a 1.5 mile horse that probably wants a mile 6, but should be able to travel with a bit of zest, which is, like I mentioned again, a horse that travels at Goodwood is normally a positive. So I would take my chance on her for sure.
Well, Ross surely is in agreement now, and your ears must have pricked up straight away, that Haydock form line.
It's terrible. I don't like the form line at all. No, it's,
I was saying, Tiffany, Lady Boba, they can take them out and chuck Queen of the Pride out.
Well, but the only problem is, we're just making sure they actually gets declared for it, because they do have the Yorkshire Oaks option.
Yeah.
But I do like that form line. I think there's 2 or 3 of those horses who have been battling against each other who, like you said, they've got middle distance quality, but they also have real back end stamina. Yeah. And we've barely seen her as well. When she's progressed very quickly from sort of novice company to suddenly winning group races. So yeah, she looks really nice. Free Wind, I just don't trust her. I mean, she's talented, and when she wins, when she won at York, it was eye-popping stuff. Okay, this is a top quality mare, but I don't know. She's quality, but a bit tripless and a bit sort of. She's the standard bearer, but you want to see something improve past her. And yeah, I hope Queen of the Pride. I mean, Lady Boba, Queen of the Pride, with Tiffany for the Yorkshire Oaks. I say I don't anti-post bet on flat racing, but
here we go.
Setting up a life changer here.
Yeah,
but that form line, I like her a lot.
Yeah. So you again agreement there.
Absolutely.
But I guess that's the thing though, Jane, with Free Wind, is what trip does she really want? Because we are struggling with her, and Ross has just said it there, where she seemed tripless. Does she now want this mile 6 again, another go at it, or is there something that you would hope would be improving past her?
Yeah, I think her optimum trip's 1.5 miles. I think she's just a Group 2 filly, and that's what this is. But you're kind of hoping that maybe Queen of the Pride could be a Group 1 filly of the future. She's beyond improvement now. I think we know exactly where Free Wind stands. Yeah. She's been lightly raced over her career, but she is getting on in age. Keys Carster will probably go here. She's been taken out of the Goodwood Cup, so she'll be her pace. It'll be red hot, but I think there's only so many times you can turn up and do that. And Benoit committed early in the Ascot Gold Cup.
Did he get much of a say in it?
True. I'm not criticising him, but I'm just saying the filly got a hard race, and it's very hard for them to back up on the back of that against heavyweight colts. So she'll set it up for what could be a very fair race, and I'm actually going to agree with everybody and say the Queen of the Pride might be the one, just because she's kind of a John Gosden-esque filly that is being brought to the boil, and you just kind of feel she's a Group 1 filly that could happen. I can't say that about Milo. I can't really say that about Time Lock. I can't say that about Henry Bromhead's mare, Term of Endearment. And knowing the way the race is going to be run, you can already see Oisin 2 down, can't you? Just a little bit cocky, a little bit, I've got this in the bag, and already thinking that I could still go to York. You're talking about York. Yeah. There's plenty of time to do both.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, and
what
again,
are you
because
gonna do then? Goodness.
TriCast.
Yeah.
I mean, this is again slightly controversial, but the one concern that they actually said is Oisin at Goodwood. I do have that slight worry. He's riding out of his skin this year. But again, jockeys for courses and stuff, because of his riding style, I do think that Goodwood doesn't always suit. He has a great plan. He can be quite aggressive, and sometimes it's hard to execute those tactics at Goodwood. At Haydock, where you start to get rolling from a long way out, it can work. But I think she's probably. I mean, that's nitpicking now.
Yeah.
But
He's absolutely on fire.
He is.
If I put him on my Alsatian at home, I'd say he'd win a race.
Just make sure she gets declared before you back her. Though, so.
Yes, I was going to say, Ross has got her anti-post, yeah. So make sure that is happening, please. But what an image I've now got in my head. But yeah,
Alsatian, we've got a great ride for you at Goodwood. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, we'll let you know the details later down the line. But yeah, don't question it. Queen of the Pride, though, for all of you, because it's interesting.
What about you? Is there going to be a quartet?
No, I was trying to get. I know. I'm feeling the pressure now.
Wow, we suddenly turned on you then, didn't we?
Yeah, all of a sudden it's just like focused.
Each way play on Mangan's Alsatian.
Mangan's Alsatian. Next name for a horse, Mangan's Alsatian. There you go.
Go on, tell me you're going to go for a filly that we haven't even named.
Oh, no, I'm not. Well, I really didn't like this race because, like I said, Free Wind is the setter of this, isn't she? The form setter with Queen of the Pride. What she has to find on the figures here that are down currently on paper, you would expect it. Because what I try and always do, I try and side with form lines that I know, quality that I know, even if I don't think that it's the highest benchmark to be setting. And when you've got a horse like Queen of the Pride, yes, she's got enough to find on the figures to be getting there to Free Wind, but I do feel like she is going to get there.
And people say this, oh, well, she'll have to improve to win that. Yeah. Horses improve to win races all the time. She had to improve to win the last race. She had to improve to win the race before.
I always like to see it, but in this race, it's very different, though, isn't it? Because you imagine she is going to get there. And I questioned her penultimate start, that success, the form line. Very, very silly of me to have done so because it's borne out to fruition and then some by herself, most notably of all. So I'm kind of feeling the peer pressure, but just to be different and just to be cantankerous, I'm going to side with Free Wind to be the one who has set the form line to be.
We could have gone. We could have all agreed.
Well, they did keep her in training to win a Group 1.
Yeah.
Right. So let's put it out there that we're not under any illusions that like two extremely experienced people have made this decision to try and win a Group 1.
Have they tried sprinting? That's quite a new division.
There are many a Group 1 prize to plunder. Maybe that's the trip she's been after this whole time. Triplets over a mile 6, try her over 5. There you go. That's our
go forward.
Planning.
Just sit around.
Just keep going forwards. That's our race planning then, over and done with for the Lillie Langtry Stakes. These guys are all with Queen of the Pride. I'm going to side with Free Wind though and hope she can prove herself. Now we're going to sign off with the easiest one of them all, the 3:35 on the Saturday, the Stewards Cup Heritage Handicap. 3-year-olds and over 6 furlongs. We don't have the draw, obviously, as we're recording this a fair few days out. We don't know exactly what's going to turn up. So, Ross, hospital pass to you.
Hang on, we've got.
It's named after Lou Stewart.
I was going to say we've got the Stewards Cup.
The Stewards Cup. So basically, by right, you should have the winner straight away, Louis.
I should do. I rode a nice horse in this called Swindler. I don't know if anyone remembers him. For Ed Walker.
It's named after you.
He was literally a swindler. I had to run him to post. He went off second favourite. I thought I was going to win the Stewards Cup.
This rings a bell now.
Yeah, I ran him from start to finish, and then when he pulls up, he stops again. I have to run him the whole way back. Anyway,
is he running?
I'm not riding. Anyway, let's get to it. Pura Sangue.
Oh, okay. Yes.
He's been running in much better company than this. I think this is perfect for him. A fast run 6. I just think he's been tried in deeper waters currently at this stage, and they had to see how good he was. He's not quite group class, I don't think. I think a race like this is going to suit him down to a T. Fast pace, should finish. He has a high cruising speed. I'm going to take my chance.
Well, I mean, hopefully that it'll be frank when Desperate Hero wins the.
Yes, there you
go. We'll do a double.
Form line boost left, right and centre. But I guess for Stewards Cup though, Louis, how difficult is it to... I mean, can you go into it with any sort of a plan? Or no? Are you trying to figure out, of course walking beforehand and such like, but trying to decide exactly where you're going to end up in this? How do you do that? Or are you just pace angle? What are you trying to decide?
Your cards are dealt from the draw.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. You normally get 2 groups, and if you're high, you're not going to get over there. If you're low, you're not going to get over there. Obviously, pace is key. So from a jockey's point of view, I would look for who's drawn my side with the most pace. Yeah. I think it's a battle of groups, and like we see at Ascot, one group can win and might not be the best horse in the race, but it's got the best run through. So it is just an absolute minefield. From a jockey's point of view, a punter's point of view, everyone, it's literally a cavalry charge.
I guess in some ways it might be frustrating but nice for a jockey because your hand's forced, so it's not solely on your shoulders for knowing exactly where the bias is.
Yeah, I mean, everyone probably likes to go forward, but at the same time, Goodwood can be a track where they do cut each other's throats. So, I mean, I don't know. There's no assessment of the race apart from jump out and see where you land, and hopefully you're in the right position.
Normally, though, it does go to you need a classy horse, especially if you're a 3-year-old. You've got to be a group horse in waiting, pretty much. And there are a couple. There's a couple of angles here. You've either got your Dark Trooper angle, who clearly is a group horse in waiting. I think he was just a bit unfortunate, Ascot, to run into a really talented filly on a going day. Unequal Love was really unlucky next time out at York. I thought she should have won that race. But that form line, Unequal Love, I think, is the key to this race. From Ascot, you've got Dark Trooper. And then from York, I hope A Day in Devon runs.
Yes.
She's been unbelievable.
I think she surprised everyone. I know that connections they play a lot of things down, but even they have been notably surprised.
Are you trying to say that James Millman is not a big bubbly character?
Very much so.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to try and hide it. Very much so. He would say himself, as we both know.
Absolutely, yeah. He's the pessimist is James. But yeah, even I messaged her after York and went, crikey, that was a good run. And he was like, yeah, we did. Sorry?
Did he reply?
He did. It was a flat reply of something along the lines of, yeah, surprised us too. And you're like, cheers, James.
Thanks, James.
And he says that basically, he kind of said something like, yeah, she's not. She just got one gear. She runs on one breath, and she just tries really hard. And that's what I really like about it. If you watch that York replay back and you stop the tape a furlong from home, and I told you that she finishes second, you'd think I'd gone mad. But she just keeps going. She just keeps going. She handles every track. She handles track, ground, everything. She's just tough as nails. So I kind of hope she runs, because I think she would finish second and third in any race she ever ran in. So I'm kind of hoping she goes. And then there's one horse I kind of think might be a bit of not a plot, but I think the Osbornes bought Emiratiana to drop down and win a good race like this. She was a very good sprinter. She's been highly tried last couple of starts. If she runs, the same owners won a race at Goodwood. It might have been last year or the year before with Executive Decision. I think is also in this. But I think they like a good sprint
winner.
winner.
It's going to be Emirati Anna's running style in a race like that.
Yeah.
It's going to be hell for leather. If you're in the firing line again, that's my only concern. But it's a very good filly that is...
She's just, you say, sprinters on, if handicappers can go up and win group races, probably doesn't take that much even for an 8-year-old group horse to drop down and win a handicap.
Yeah, exactly. I'd say to then go the other way and to drop down and to win it. But I guess, Jane, which angle do you take into these sort of super competitive heritage handicaps? Is it that class angle? Is it the progressive one? Is it the one that's got a few pound in hand that's been plotted? What's your in?
When it comes to the real premier handicaps like your Ebors, your Cesarwiches, and I will say Louis Cup,
there you go.
they tend to have something in hand. It tends to be a plot job, because even if you are a group horse, you can get beaten by a group horse hidden as a handicapper. I won't pretend to have superior knowledge on a British handicap than these guys, but I would say that Fair Wind for Owen Burrows just caught my eye last time at Ascot. 6 pounds of a rise is not too harsh. I'd say he'll be there, but Dark Trooper is deservedly favoured on the Wokingham run.
Are you going to pull out the hat then?
Oh, here we go.
Comanche Falls, surely back in the same race again. Like I say, we haven't got all the pieces of the puzzle. One horse, though, that we know is going to turn up, hopefully will give his running, is dear old Comanche Falls. He won this 2 years ago off of a £4 lower mark than he's going to be carrying this time round. 110 he's still running off of in this, though, as a 7-year-old now. And he won it the year prior to that off a mark of 101, so £9 lower than he's going to be carrying this time round. But this is course and distance. This is his race. Without all the pieces of the puzzle, I just thought Comanche Falls, who is quite a big price, double figures as we record right now, then I thought that he might just be the one you just have to be keeping the eye on at least anyway. But
like you said, I mean, if all the good horses, the really good sprinters get retired or go into group races, like you said, he's another one who's got his course form, proven quality. And Michael Dodd's, Dakota Gold is a great example of how you can just keep them performing.
Is it Dakota Gold or Comanche Falls that loads himself into the starting stalls?
I think
Dakota Gold.
Yeah, it's Dakota.
It's Dakota Gold that does. I mean, Comanche Falls may as well do by now himself, but it's Dakota Gold that puts himself in. But yeah, all of those horses, like you say, for all that the top quality group horses are kind of being retired in the sprint division, these handicappers are the ones that we're kind of relying on to really bulk up the stock then for the remainder. So, Stewards Cup, I'm not going to pin you down to a selection then, that would be very unfair to do so, but do let us know know again in the comments section below who you fancy for the Stewards Cup and any of the other races that we have covered as well. So all that is left for us to do is to give our naps of the week, guys. So Jane, do you want to go first?
Percival Galway on the Galway plate on Wednesday.
Appreciate that a lot.
JP McManus, you've been thinking about this race for a while. If I have to go with a Goodwood nap, Jan Bruegel won't be beaten in the Gordon Stakes. 2 from 2, brother to Sovereign. He won the Gallinule despite inexperience the last day. He's got all of the Group 1 entries that he could possibly have. And he's actually a giant if you see him in the flesh, if anybody's going to Goodwood. Jan Bruegel, I think he is a sleeper in a yard where they have a lot of talent in this division.
A Brucey bonus as well, then going to Galway. So I've got that clash. It's always so frustrating though that say trying to take in every bit, but 2 horses put up by Jay. No pressure, Ross, but I only require 1 from you. A nap at Glorious Goodwood.
The Galway hurdles are really great.
Well,
I want to say that Jay's put me up to this, by the way. But Jesse Evans the place. No, it's got to be Desperate Hero, hasn't it? For the anti-post bet that will probably lose, but I think is a big runner. Yeah. So
he's hoping so for Desperate Hero for Ross, and then Louis, your nap.
I'm going to go Notable Speech again. I can't write him off yet. I think I'm going to give him one more chance. His Guinea form says it all, and I'm hoping he can come good in the Sussex.
And the compensation in the price as well. I'm just pleased that we've managed to avoid each other's races because I didn't think that was going to happen with me going last for my nap as well, because I'm going to go to Lennox, going to go with dear old Kim Ross, the 7 furlong specialist, back in his race yet again. Hopefully, I mean, English Oak still has to prove it up to this level, and Kim Ross is just becoming more and more ground versatile as he gets older as well. So back over the 7 furlongs, Kim Ross for Lennox, hopefully to win again. They are our naps sent ahead of Glorious Goodwood. What did you think of our preview? What's your nap for the week? Again, let us know in the comments section below. But a big thank you to the team for all of their hard work and their insights. And if you would like to catch more on Inside Track, we have plenty more to bring you going forwards. Well, a big thank you for watching Inside Track, our Glorious Goodwood preview. And if you'd like to go back and watch us rank our top 5 ultimate flat trainers, then click the link in the video. 18+, please remember to gamble responsibly.